Hello!
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 Welcome to the second episode of the Norwood Institute podcast, which we are calling episode 1, renumbering the previous one to episode 0, since this actually corresponds to episode 1 of the show. And if you're not confused yet, don't worry, you will be soon. So, today we are reviewing the very first episode of the show, as I've just mentioned, An Unearthly Child. Just episode 1, not the rest of Serial A. Let's start by asking a couple of questions. So, Isaac, what did you think of this episode?
I really enjoyed it. I liked its non-standard layout, with having flashbacks and not focusing on the actual main character of Doctor Who, the Doctor.
Oh, I noticed that in this episode he's actually credited as Doctor Who rather than the Doctor, which is...
Yeah, he's credited as that a lot, I think. Isn't he, Dad?
Yeah.
Quite a lot of the thing. It's because I'm used to seeing it as credited as the Doctor.
Yeah. And one thing I noticed considerably is how different the first Doctor is. Because me and my dad have just been watching later First Doctors as part of his Hartnell Marathon. And it's striking. It really is.
How is he different?
Well, he's horrible to Susan. And he's a lot less forward. By forward, I mean, he's less confident. By less confidence, I mean, he's a lot more wary of the people around him. And he is making transparent attempts to make them go away. He's still got his slightly rude manner about him that he has for most of his stories.
I think I'd like to say we actually watched the pilot as well, and in the pilot he's even nastier. He's really horrible to Susan, and he's really nasty to Ian and Barbara as well. So actually, yeah, he's nastier, but he's toned down from what they originally thought to do.
I think because he's supposed to be the protagonist of a villain, not villain, story.
Yeah, and the protagonist of the story has got to be at least likeable in some aspects. I mean, you don't so much get, even in the actual broadcast version, you don't really get any of the likeable stuff, but then you do get it a bit later on in the serial, but obviously we're not talking about that.
I can't remember.
Well, I'll say actually, probably Ian and Barbara are the protagonists in this one.
Yeah, they are.
They're more the protagonists.
It's from their point of view.
You actually do get at points. There's some camera work when they're talking about Susan, and like when they have the camera as if it's Ian and Barbara's eyes. So it's literally from the point of view of the camera as well. It's literally from their point of view.
Talking about the cinematography, I really, really love the opening because you get the weird, swirling, misty stuff going on, and then it fades into the London fog, and you got this really weird stuff that becomes what was completely normal at the time. And then you get a perfectly normal Bobby on the beat, and then you get a weird humming police box. And then it crossfades to a school, which is completely normal, except, of course, for the
students being 20 years old.
Yeah. And you get two completely normal teachers talking about somebody weird. You just get thrown from it's odd, it's normal, it's odd, it's normal, all the way through, right up until the final, reveal of the inside of the TARDIS.
There's lots of juxtaposition in the episode, I think, with of contrasting ideas.
I'd like to say a little bit about the moment when Barbara steps into the TARDIS, because that's just such a brilliant moment. It's... Up till then, you're not quite sure if it's going to be a realistic show or something really outlandish. And at that point, you know it's going to be outlandish. And that's one of the very few bits from the pilot that I thought worked better, because you could see the inside of the TARDIS from outside. And I so wish they'd done that. That would have been brilliant.
Yes. You said there was another bit you wished they... thing where you wished they wanted...
Yeah.
In the actual one.
Yeah. The other thing I liked better in the pilot episode was the weirdness of Susan, because they softened both the Doctor and Susan. And the Doctor, I think it was a really good idea. With Susan, they tried to make her more relatable, which they did, but you lost a lot of the unearthliness of her unearthly child.
Yeah. And, of course, over the next few serials, she loses more of her unearthliness.
Yes. Because I think wasn't the original plan to make her sort of like a mysterious being with inhuman powers, and then she just sort of ended up being reduced to someone who fell over a lot and twisted her ankle.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
But getting back to this episode, May, anything you want to say about anything? Did you like it? Let's start with that.
Yes, I did like it quite a lot. And when I say quite a lot, I mean I really bloody loved it. It's such a brilliant intro to a new series. Like, you can see it's quite low budget. Obviously, I don't know I can't really look at something from the 60s and know which is low budget and what's not, because I'm used to 21st century television. But
Actually, I'll just ask about that, because some people think that if you grew up on 21st century television, you can't enjoy 60s television because it's so different. The production values are so much lower.
oh no, I think you can absolutely enjoy it, because if the stories are good, it doesn't matter so much if the set's rubbish and, well, not rubbish, but Doctor Who sets aren't rubbish, but like if the set's wobbly and you can tell that the blocks falling on people are in fact made of foam, but it doesn't matter because with Doctor Who the stories are so enthralling and wonderful to watch that it doesn't really matter. You're so caught up with the stories and the acting that the fact that the production value is much lower doesn't have an effect.
Yeah, and it's not a massive difference, because we were reviewing the
Time Meddler?
Time Meddler, and Dad was saying about some of the special effects in that, like they had some fake sky and it looked realistic.
It looks so realistic. I mean,
yeah.
I couldn't tell that. I would have thought that it was filmed actually out on location if Dad hadn't said, "Oh, this was filmed on set," and it was just like, wow, that's so amazing.
And it's all recorded in one evening as well.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it's more sort of like stage acting. Whereas, because with modern television and film, I think they say you're never acting for more than 45 seconds, which I think, for me anyway, as an aspiring actress, that would sort of break my flow. So I really like the whole "it's filmed continuously" thing, because it makes it more spontaneous and like a stage play than more than TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the bit that looked most stagey to me was the bit where Ian and Barbara were sitting in the car when they're waiting for Susan to come home. And that it's just, you've got that, it just looks really fake.
Yeah, it does. I have to say, I agree with you there. It looks very staged. It's almost like, it was very reminiscent of the paper cars that you would get on stage. But even so, even though it does look quite fake,
it has some great acting.
It's still a really lovely
scene
bit, and it's where we get quite a lot of the information about Susan and why she's weird, like not knowing how many shillings there are in a pound. But also, what I really like about that is that they predicted that Britain would go onto the decimal system. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this was made, what, like 4 or 5 years before?
5 years before.
And it's like, oh my gosh, they actually predicted it. That's so cool. It's like, I think actually maybe the producers of Doctor Who do actually have a TARDIS, and they're sort of like going around finding things out about the future so they can make predictions. Like, of course, because we've got Harold Saxon as Prime Minister now, you know.
The Brigadier predicted that there would be a female Prime Minister in the 70s or 80s.
So yeah, it wasn't a prediction at all, was it? It was just it was just reporting on the current events 5 years ahead of the programme.
Yeah, I told you that the producers of Doctor Who do actually have a TARDIS that they used to fly around and find things out about stuff. But obviously that they can't use to find out that Vikings didn't actually have horns on their helmets.
And they can't actually go back and get the missing episodes.
No, they can't do that because that's not allowed.
Yeah.
The BBC higher-ups say it's bad and not allowed. Oh, I would really like if they could go back and get them. Oh, if I had a time machine, that's what I'd do. Going back to the scene with the car, especially in the pilot, it looks very fake because there's like the car about 5-10 feet maybe max away from the door of the scrapyard, and then you've got Susan going to the scrapyard and looking around pointedly missing the car. It's just like, Susan, wow, you're so crap at subterfuge.
And it is really brightly lit in the pilot.
Yeah.
It's a really nice effect of Barbara's silhouette on Ian's face, which I kind of really like, but it adds to the faintness.
Yeah, it is quite unbelievable. Sometimes, most of the time, you can just forget that you can just sort of ignore the fact that it's not the greatest in terms of set and special effects, but it's just when it's so obvious that Susan would have seen the car, it's sort of like, oh no. But then that's less so in the actual broadcast version. Even so.
Yeah. Can I say something about the next scene?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I find this scene really, it worked well, because it seems quite surreal with just them looking around this scrapyard, and you've got... I can't remember what the music was like, but I imagine it was creepy music.
I think that whole scene is sort of quite creepy and...
Yeah, because...
It's designed to be scary. You've got all like the mannequins and wooden dolls
yeah,
around,
that's
which,
what
like,
I was just getting
proper... Oh, sorry.
But yeah, it's got loads of creepy, yeah, like May said, mannequins and stuff.
They had even more of those in the pilot.
Yeah, we had a bit more of that, and them just coming across the TARDIS.
Sort of like their sort of confusion about why is there a police box in a junkyard? This is really weird. But also, what I find it's hard for sort of, I think probably for both of us, is because the idea of a police box has sort of become it's not a police box, that's the TARDIS. Like, if you see a picture of a police box, you think, that's not a police box, that's a TARDIS. But, but back then, that would have just been like, for the audience watching, that would have been, okay, that's a police box. That's a bit weird, why is it there?
Yeah, so, some of the effects of stuff is really linked to the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, there's the outdated police box, and in quite a few of the later ones, bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap.
One thing I really noticed there is Ian saying, it's alive! It's a very odd way of putting it, because what he means is it's live. There's electricity running through it, but saying it's alive gives like a...
It's a very different connotation.
Yes.
It's sort of foreshadowing to a reveal in a later episode that the TARDIS is actually a living creature.
It is a living creature.
Sorry, I keep talking over you.
Yes. It's got quite Frankenstein connotations.
Yeah, it does actually.
Yeah.
And it adds to the horror-ish aspect of that particular scene.
Yes.
With the as I said, overview again. Oh dear.
Okay then, what do you guys think of the acting?
Yeah, mostly I'd say the acting is stellar, on point.
Yeah, it's on point. Susan's very good at... sorry, not Susan. Oh, what's the actor called?
Mind blank.
Carol Ann Ford?
Yeah, Carol Ann Ford's very good at transmitting the weirdness that Susan was supposed to be.
And I think she is good at playing the... even though I know she... What did you say? She's in her 20s with children at this point, and she's playing a 15-year-old?
Yep.
Yeah, I think she does a very good job of portraying a 15-year-old.
Yeah,
obviously she's not 15, because I suppose as a Time Lord, 15's about 90?
Probably.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway.
It's like dog years, isn't it?
Time Lord years, times by whatever.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I think even though, like, it is believable, like...
She acts more like a 15-year-old.
Or a 90-year-old.
Or a 90-year-old, as May says. I don't think William Hartnell had much of a chance to shine, but what he did do, he did well, I think. He acted trying desperately to try to keep him out of the TARDIS quite well, personally.
I think even just with the I mean, in the episode... being the title character, he didn't actually get so much of an acting opportunity, but even so, he still had a really great screen presence, a lot of
he had
gravitas.
He's got gravity.
Gravatar.
Gravatar. Yes.
I just think he does quite a lot with his expressions. It's a very close kind of performance. There's not like a big theatre performance at all. It's just like he does a lot with just little movements.
Yeah, more...
It's quite personal.
Yeah, it's very much camera acting.
Yeah, even though the style is more like stage acting, he's definitely acting for camera.
Yes, because in stage, lots of people won't be able to see small facial expression changes. you'll have to do it out a bit.
Yeah.
And apparently he was really quite pleased to get to reshoot it because he wasn't happy with his performance in the pilot.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I thought he acted it fine, but
Yeah.
I think he wanted to be,
Nicer.
yeah, a bit less prickly anyway.
Because basically the big roles he was doing before was all just...
Like sergeant types, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was sort of his typecast.
Well, this changed this radically.
And wasn't like the iconic white hair, isn't that a wig?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Really?
It looks so real,
Wow.
doesn't it?
Yeah. I didn't know.
Well done, makeup department.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
Props to...
Props to you, if you're still alive.
I'm just going to say I've met William Russell. So you can all wallow in jealousy.
William Russell's great. There are a couple of moments where he does go a little bit over the top in this one. One being the "it's alive" moment. And then, can't remember exactly, but there's one moment after they're in the TARDIS where he's just a little bit OTT. Yeah, no, I know what it was. No, the one in the TARDIS is his falling over acting.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
When it's wibbling around.
So it's all stuff to do with electricity.
If we ever do the Daleks, we'll get another chance to see William Russell's falling over acting. And basically, he's brilliant in a lot of ways, but he can't fall over for toffee. I think that's probably all I've got to say about that.
Yes. I still have to say I think he's very good. His performance is pretty compelling to watch. Should we talk about Jacqueline Hill now?
Said the person who's met William Russell.
I met William Russell. Jacqueline Hill.
Jacqueline Hill's brilliant, thoroughly brilliant. In fact, one of the things I really noticed in the pilot is that she fluffs. She fluffs a line in the pilot.
Yes, he does.
In the car.
In the car.
I think if you include that one, that doubles the number of times she fluffs on the show. I think she does like just one other fluff in the whole of her time on the show. She's the most reliable cast member. Again, she does a lot with her face. She's just like very warm and calm. Also right on the ball as an actress.
Yeah, I have to say I agree with you. Jacqueline Russell is really, really good.
Jacqueline Russell.
Jacqueline Russell. No.
May.
May.
I have to break it to you. Ian married Barbara.
Don't be mean to
Jacqueline
me.
didn't marry William.
May fluffed on the podcast. Now, the point I was wanting to make about Jacqueline Hill, not Russell, was that there's this... When she gives the book about the French Revolution to Susan, and then Susan says, I'll bring it back tomorrow, and she says, oh no, keep it till you finished it, and then Susan, she said, oh, I'll have finished it. There's this little, like, she has a little, face, and it's just really, it's very small, very quiet, but I thought it was really, really in fitting with the show, and...
Realistic.
It's realistic, and just a nice little acting choice that I thought was nice. Nice is a terrible word. I'm sorry, any English teachers listening, I know. It's great. Oh, God, no. I'm crying.
Can I just interject and say we're actually getting quite
Really off
short on
topic.
time now. So is there anything more we want to say, or shall we move on to the summary?
I think
Let's move
summary.
on to the summary. Yeah.
Right. Philip Sandifer, in his recent podcast, came up with a very weird rating system.
Yeah.
Now, that was rating new episodes by picking a Doctor number from the classic series that the episode was most like. So, in a variation on that, how about picking a Doctor other than William Hartnell that this episode was most like?
All right.
Okay, I'm going to give it an 11.
Oh, yes? What's your reasoning behind that?
You do get some quite weird stories with 11, and it's just the kind of weirdness that you get in it is, I think, more 11 than anything else, or at least more Moffat era. I pondered about a 12, but you then, you have a husband and wife to be team in the TARDIS along with 11.
You know, I actually had similar thinking. I was thinking 12. More for the horror aspect of it. I know 12's not all horrifying, but it seems quite sort of similar in themes.
Actually, on that point, it occurred to me, and we went for this weird route of the magical TARDIS. There was an alternative horror possibility, not really in a children's programme or family programme, but what if it had been a horrible old man who's keeping his granddaughter locked up in a wooden box in a junkyard? It could have been really horrible.
That would have been quite a different programme to watch.
Yes. Yes. It wouldn't probably last very long.
No, yes. Moving on to something a bit nicer. What rating did you give it, Isaac?
Yes, I'm choosing entirely different reasons. I'll give it a Second Doctor, just because of the music of the Second Doctor. It would fit so well for this episode.
Yeah.
Do.
It would, wouldn't
You know.
it? That's good thinking.
And you also got a crowded TARDIS in the Second Doctor with Ben, Polly, and Jamie.
Yeah.
Anyway, shall we end it there?
Yes, let's end it there.
So what are we going to do next? We're going to do the Green Death or the Christmas Invasion next?
Christmas Invasion,
Christmas
I reckon.
Invasion, yeah.
Because then we could go...
Another beginner's.
old, new,
New
old. Classic, new, classic.
So Isaac's going to be hosting that one because that was his choice.
Yep.
But before we go, we've just got a song for you. So see you next time. Bye.
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 Doctor Who! Grandad, meet the teachers. They've been checking out our family. Kidnapped in the TARDIS. Now we're on our way to prehistory. Coal Hill was my all-time favourite place. Now we will be lost in time and space. When you're with the Doctor, you'll have a fight that evil scheme time, a trip and scream time. You'll have a scary time. Grandad, meet the teachers. They've been checking out our family. Kidnapped in the TARDIS. Now we're on our way to prehistory. Coal Hill was my all-time favourite place. Now we will be lost in time and space. When you're with the Doctor, you'll have a fight that evil scheme time, a trip and scream time. You'll have a scary time. You'll have a scary time.